In the final question, we will use Central Limit Theorem to find probabilities. Here we have real-world problems. The average number of tourists that visits a national monument every month is 55,000. Let's write the given. Average is about mean, that is mu. With the standard deviation, the sigma is given 8,000. Assume that the variable is normally distributed. We can do a normal distribution graph, or we can use the rules of that. Now, if a random month is selected, find the probability that there would be fewer than 50,000 tourists. This is the x value. We have done similar problem just a while ago in the previous question, question number 19. So now we will do the same thing. First find the z value. X minus nu divided by sigma. Just substitute and get the z value. 50,000 minus mean is 55,000 divided by 8,000. So here we have 5,000 divided by minus 5,000 divided by 8,000. So zeros go. It's negative 5 by 8. You just put in the calculator, you get this answer. Now, what do we want? We want to know the probability of that there would be fewer than fewer. So if it's like this, what is the z value? Somewhere over here, this part, right? So just probability of minus 5 by 8 in the calculator will give you the answer. So let's take our calculators and do it. You need to remember we have to use the stat mode, that is mode 3, and then press AC. Now it's statistic mode. Shift 1 to get the stat mode again, and 5 for distribution, and the first one from left side. It's negative 5 divided by 8, close the bracket. The answer is 26. You can just multiply this by 100. That's 26.6%. You can see over here, that'll be the answer. Now for the next one, if a sample of 10 months is selected, find the probability that there would be fewer than 50,000 visiting tourists. So here what you need to do is the sample is given. So we have to find the standard error of mean, the sample mean. The formula is same like this. It's just that we use this symbol over here, the x, whatever x is there, this is x, right? Like a mean, sample mean. And then minus nu, but there will be a change in the standard deviation because there are samples of 10 months, right? So here we take it for the mean. The formula is very simple. The standard deviation changes. What is the n? What is the sample? That will be taken square root of that. I'll write the formula first. It's n, and over here the original standard deviation. So the standard deviation which we had 8,000 now varies because it'll be 8,000 divided by square root 10, and whatever the answer is there, that is the new standard deviation for the sample we use. And then we just put it over here. It's 50,000 minus again 55,000 itself divided by the new one. So let's do it in the calculator. Here you need to go to computation mode, shift and 1, sorry, mode and 1. And now let's do this. 8,000 divided by square root of 10. And that's the answer. It'll be 2,529.82. Now here, the formula is 2529.82. It's not 8,000 which is given because this is the standard deviation error. You need to find this. And now we will use the z value. It is negative 5,000 because 50,000 minus 55,000 will be negative 5,000. 2529.82. And the z value is, now it's different. The z value is minus 1.976. And then what you do is we can just take about 3 decimal points. That's enough, or 4 also, but I usually take it 3, or it varies, Over here it's taken 2, but that's fine. And now here you need to go to statistic mode, that is mode 3 AC, shift 1. Now distribution for probability of this, that's probability from the left side, and minus 1.976. The answer is, now multiply this by 100. So let's close the bracket and now multiply it by 100. It's 2.4%, and you can see that's the answer. So this is how we solve the sample problems. They are very simple. All you need to see is if they give you samples, the standard deviation changes, the formula changes. Only the standard deviation changes. That's it. So this is it. Here as well, it's the same thing. What is happening? They have given you all the details and you have to find the probability as normal, like the previous topic, question 19. Topic 19, we did this. But then the second part is by samples, just now we did, right? The standard deviation changes. Changes by what? Over here, the standard deviation is 2, isn't it? So you have to do 2 divided by the sample, square root of the sample. So this is the new standard deviation. So for the second one, you have to use this as the standard deviation and solve it up. And see, it's more than. So what happens? I'll just do this quickly because there's more than over here. I will try to directly solve in calculator because it's the electronic part. Now here the mean, let me just denote it mean, standard deviation, x. Okay. And let me write the formula for the next one as well. The standard deviation will be 2 divided by square root 15. So this is the changes. Now here, for the first one, the z value is given like this. The x minus mean divided by the standard deviation 2. Let me write the z value, that is minus 1. Now what about the next one? Here first, let me find the standard deviation. It's 0. Over here it is 0.52. I'll just take 2. And then we will find this z value over here. It will be, what is the x value? It's again 10 itself. 10 minus the mean is given as 12 divided by 0.52. So this is the z value, that is minus 3.85. Minus 3.846. Let me just take 3 decimals. And then we have found the z value, Look at the question properly. Find the probability that the randomly selected bar will have more than 10 grams of protein. More. You can either do this. Shift 1. Now we are to go to statistics mode. Mode 3. And now shift 1. 5. You can press 1. And you can type the z value of minus 1. What is the answer? But okay, let's multiply by 100. But that's not the answer. Look over here. This is not. Why? Because we have to get more. Now, whatever this answer is from the left side in this normal distribution, right? From the left side, when the z value is minus 1, this much is 15.86, this much percentage probability. But we need the right side because more than, this is the solution region. You can do 100 minus this value. Let me show you that. Over here, just 100 minus the answer. That is the answer, 84.1. Or I can directly use shift 1, 5. Instead of P, I'll take R. That's from the right side. Now I will type the z value, that is minus 1 multiplied by 100. I'll directly get this answer. Can you see that? 84.1%. How about over here? Again, it is greater than. So even over here, it's the same thing, but the z value is different. So what I'll do is I will just type this out, minus 3.846, and it's 99.99. Okay, it's 199.99. That's the answer. Whereas if you had done the p value to be 0.00 something, 1, whereas we need from the greater than, so it's right side of the normal distribution curve. I hope this is clear. In the topic 19, we did similar problems, but this second part, the B part, is just different because the standard deviation varies here. Now, what about this problem, which is very interesting? Here we have to use the binomial central limit theorem. But the first one is a simple one. In the recent year, 33% of the Americans said that they were planning to watch the World Cup football tournament. What is the probability that in a random sample of 45 people, fewer than 14 people plan to watch the World Cup? Assume that the variable is normally distributed. Now here they have given you probability that they were planning to watch. They have given the sample and then they have given you x value as well. So in such cases, when you see such type of problems, right, mean is not there, standard deviation is not there, but you have the probabilities, isn't it? So we have to use the formula mean is equal to NP. And then what is the standard deviation formula? It's square root of NPQ. Probability of success and probability of failure. In a recent year, 33% of Americans were planning to watch. This is P. So what is Q? Q is equal to 1 minus P. So I'll just write it out over here. P is equal to 33% or 0.33. You can just divide this by 100, or you can put percent in the calculator, it will be the same. Q will be 100 minus 33, that is 67%. That is equal to 0.67. That's it. What is N? How many people? The sample of 45. That's it. Now we can easily find the mean and this sigma, that is the standard deviation. Because mean is equal to, over here, N value is 45 times 0.33, whereas over here it will be 45 times 0.33 times 0.67, everything inside the square root. We'll get these two answers, and then we know the x value. What is the x value over here? It's 14. From this we can try and solve it, but there is a little bit of the difference, which I'll tell you in a minute. First, let's do so much in the calculator. Now, before I continue with the problem, let me just show you. 33, if you want percentage symbol, shift and this symbol here gives you percent. Okay. Whenever we are computing, we can compute in the statistics mode, that's fine, but the fractions and all won't be available. So what you can do is mode and 1 for computation. And then 45 times 0.33 or 33% gives you 14.85. So the mean over here is 14.85. What about the standard deviation? That is by the square root of 45 times 0.33 times 0.67. That gives you 3.15. The standard deviation is 3.15. I'll just take two digits after the decimal. Now what next? Here we have to use the Central Limit Theorem, these correction factors. So you just don't take 14 as x value. What did they ask? Fewer than 14. I'll just show you over here the binomial distribution correction factors. See, less than. That's very important. Fewer means this correction factor, right? Whatever this 14, it should be x must be less than, right? Less than 14. So in this case, the C is coming under this. What happens with that? So here, whatever is this x value, you must subtract by 0.5. That is what it means. So you can't directly take x. It's always the correction factor of 0.5. Let me just clear this. X is less than 14. So what happens is the correction factor, right? Factor is minus 0.5 basically. So x will be 14 minus 0.5, that is 13.5. We have to use this one. If it was greater than, you add it. Whereas if it was greater than or equal to, you subtract it. We will come across these, in the next problems, and we'll try to do all the different ones. So now in this case, which is very simple because I've just given you one set of value, fewer than, that's it. So in such case, you have to use x as 13.5, and now let's do it. The z value will be x minus nu divided by sigma, that is x is 13.5 minus 14.85 divided by 3.15, isn't it? Now just put that in the calculator. Over here we have to do 13.5 minus 14.85 divided by 3.15. So negative 3 by 7. Now let's just write it out over here. That is minus 3 by 7. So that is where we need to find the probability, isn't it? Less than, fewer than. So let's just put shift 1, mode 3, and now we can use shift 1, phi 1, and minus 3 divided by 7. The answer is 33.4. And over here we go. That's the answer. So for this case, for 14 people, we have to use the correction factor fewer than. So it should be left side, isn't it? So we use P of minus whatever the z value we got, and directly that's the answer. If you want in percentage, just multiply this by 100, and that's the answer. So this is how we use the correction factors to solve this. Let's see one more problem. Okay, now this is interesting because there are two values given. According to a national poll in a recent year, let me write 27% of Americans saw 5 or more movies in theaters. So 27, that is P is equal to 0.27. If P is so much, what is Q? Q will be 73. Yeah. To 100 minus 27 would be 73. And then what is the probability that the random sample of n is 40? Okay. Between, what does between mean? Between means, see, x is over here is greater than this number, whereas less than 11, the next number. Okay, this is what is happening. So you can, in other words, you can see over here the first instance, for the first instance, x is greater than 6. For the next instance, x is less than 11. Okay, this is what is happening when it's between. If it was at most or at least, then it is less than or equal to. When it's at most and at least, we'll try to do such problem as well. But now over here, it is just x is greater than and less than because it's between. Okay, these saw more than 5 movies in that year. Assume that the variable is normally distributed. So just like the previous one, let's quickly solve this. The mean is given by, I'll directly put in the calculator. We know the formulas, n times p, isn't it? You need to remember them. I'll use the calculator now. Also, this is electronic part. You don't need to do any of the methods, but you need to write it and solve few of the things. Otherwise, you can't directly jump to any answer. So here we have 0.27 times n is 40. So it's 10.8. Let's write the mean as 10.8 here. What about standard deviation? That is given by the square root of all these top three numbers. 0.27. Now again, here there's an issue. Because I'm in statistics mode, I'll take in computation, and now it's much easier. Square root 0.27 times 0.73 times 40. You just multiply all them inside the square root. And the answer is 2.81. It's 2.81. Now see, the thing is, whenever we write mean and standard deviation, what I used to do is I just take two decimal points after two digits after the decimal point. Whereas if it's the z value, using this we get the z value, I take 3 digits after the decimal point. You can take even, uniformly two or three everywhere. That is also fine. It'll just vary by simple, maybe the hundreds or thousands might vary. That's fine, Okay, so we got so much. Now what next? We need to use the correction factor. If you recall, the correction factor over here, x is greater than 6. So this is going to be 6.5. We have to consider x is 6. Less than would be, x will be 10.5. If you don't recall, I'll just show you over here. The table is there. See, x is greater than 6, right? We add 0.5 because it's greater. When it's less, we subtract. So this is the thing. Whereas if it was utmost and at least, it changes. There's both changes, which we'll see in the later problem. Now after this, what next? We have to find the z values. I'll write over here z values. We know the formula for z value is x minus nu divided by sigma. We need to find, and then after we find the z values, we put in the calculator and find the z probabilities. Okay. So now z values are for both. Let's write it out over here. In the calculator, let us type 6.5 minus, what is the mean? 10.8 divided by 2.81. First answer is 1.53, only 53. So it's 1.53. It's negative. It's minus to the left of the normal distribution curve. And here all I do is change this to 10. And the answer is 0.1067. So I'll write minus 0.107. Now then, let me find the probabilities, statistic mode. And then here shift 1. Okay, start mode is not on. You need to press 3, and now you need to press AC. So now it'll be on. Okay, shift 1, 5, and 1 over here, minus 1.53. Multiply, I'll write in percent directly. It's 6.3% here. So I'll write it as 6.3. And what about the next one? All I need to do is change this value here to 0.107. Negative sign is already there. And it's 45.74. I'm going to take 39 is almost 4. Now then, is these the answers? No, we need to find within this range. So this number minus 6.3 will give you the answer. It's 39.45. You can see here the answer is 39 point, it's taken as 5. The reason is because I've taken decimal points differently, but if you take according to their values, you will definitely get the same value. But over here, since I've not taken uniform decimal points, maybe they have considered 3 decimal points everywhere. In some places I've considered 3, 4, but you can see the overall answer is just the same. Also, there won't be any other option which is very, very close to this. You won't have options like 39.4, 39.5. No, you will have different values altogether. You'll have 20s, 30s, 40s, like that. So that's the correct answer. The question 9 is another interesting one. Here you can see there are 2 different types. One, it's about exactly 35 books and at least and at most 18 books. So we will solve this one. A poll was conducted at a library to approximate the percent of books, CDs, magazines, and movies that were checked out during 1 month. The results are shown over here. Assume that the variable is normally distributed. See, they have not given us a percentage like P or Q value, but they give us this box. But in this, we can find the P and Q value, which I'll show you in a minute. Before that, what is the probability that of 65 randomly selected resources? So they are randomly selecting 65 resources, that exactly 35 books. Now there are a few important things to remember. Exactly, this is important. And we are dealing with books now. So what we need to do is we need to find the probability of books from this given thing. What will be the p-value? I write it over here. P-value will be books desired outcome divided by the total possibilities, right? It'll be 45 plus 20 plus 3 plus 32. So these are the total resources. The probability will be given over here. Let us do this in the calculator. If your calculator is in start mode, you can press mode 1 to go to the computation mode. Now you can write easily 45 divided by 45 plus 20. You can just add it in your mind and also write it. Plus 3 plus 32 is 35. I'm directly writing it. And the probability is 0.45. So P value is 0.45. What does Q value mean then? It's just 1 minus this. It will be 0.55. It's 45% and 55%. So there is a probability of 55% that the randomly selected resources, books are in there. So this is P and Q. What is N? How many randomly resources selected? It's 65. So now we can easily find out mean, right? I'll write over here mean is N times P, and standard deviation will be square root of N P Q. So the substitution over here would be 65 times 0.45, and over here it will be 65 times 0.45 times 0.55. Now let's do that much in the calculator. It is 65 times 0.45. The answer is 29.25. That's the mean, 29.25. And what will be the standard deviation? That is square root of 65 times 0.45 times 0.55. And that is 4.01. So here standard deviation is 4.01. So this much is done. Now when it is exactly, it's very simple. What is the x value? We need exactly 65. I'll show you the table, but you can just remember whenever it's exactly, you can just subtract 30. No, this is not x value. What is the x value? That's this one over here, 35. So whenever you see this term exactly, you will have two values. It's zero point 0.5 less the correction factors, subtract and add it. So these are the two values. Easily you can just memorize it when it's exactly. But I'll show you the theorem over here, the factors. X is equal to C, that means it's exactly 35. So in this case, you have to subtract the value, whichever is less, subtract it and add it. So that is the condition over here. So left side will be 35 minus 0.5, and over here it will be 35 plus 0.5. So I've taken those two values. Let me write it out over here. So those are basically the x values, okay? 34.5, 35.5. Now let me find the z value. Z value is given as x minus nu divided by sigma. Now we will use calculator to solve the z values. Here all you need to do is type in the first one, 34.5 minus mean is 29.25 divided by sigma is the standard deviation is 4.01. The value is 1.309. So over here, I'll take 309 itself. And what about the other side? Just change this to 35.5, and here you go, it is 1.559. 1.559. So let's put this in the calculator. Not obviously calculator, but it starts mode and then solve the probability. Mode 3. Now don't press on. If you go back, it's not in start mode. It's only when mode 3 and AC, now it's in start mode. So shift and 1 and then 5 and 1. First one, 1.309. Close the bracket, multiplied by 100 to get in percent. It's 90.473. So let me write it over here. 90.473. And what happens in the other side? It'll be 1.559. Just these two to 55. And that is equal to 94.05. Over here it's 94.05. Now we need to subtract these both and find the probability, percent of the probability. So I'll just do minus. This is already saved as the answer. 90.473. Okay, I did not put a point. So I'd rewrite. Now the answer will be changed. See, now I can't press that because the recently stored answer will be the answer. It's 94.05 minus greater value minus the smaller value. It's 3.577. I will take it as 3.56%. So this would be the final answer. That is, you can see over here. Okay, they have rounded off to only one digit after decimal. So it's 3.56 will become 3.6% for the first case. That is for the books. If that 65 randomly selected resources, exactly 35 way books will be about 3.6%. Obviously, it's very hard to tell only 35 will be books, out of all these. So this is the situation here. Now, what about the second one? Let's do the second problem here. Find the probability that 85 randomly resources would be, at least 15 and at most 18 CDs. So we have to do it for CDs now. But before that, at least and at most, let me write that out over here. So we have x, that is over here 15, less than or equal to, x is greater than or equal to 15 and less than or equal to 18. So this is the condition for at most. Whereas between will be just greater and less than. Okay, these are the conditions. Now, what does x mean? X is greater than or equal to 15 and x is less than or equal to 18. These are the two conditions, right? See over here, the first part, this one, x is greater than or equal to 15 and the second one, x is less than or equal to 18. So for such cases, what happens? You have to subtract and add, isn't it? See over here, greater than or equal to 15 here, you subtract by 0.5. So it'll be 14.5 and over here you add, see over here less than or equal to, add 0.5. So the x value is basically turned to be, over here it'll be 14.5, 18.5. These are the two conditions. But now again, P and everything mean standard deviation changes. Why? Because the p probability is not for the books anymore, it's for the CDs. So let's find the p-value. How many CDs are there? There are 20 CDs divided by total, that is 45 plus 20 plus 3 plus 32. And now we have to find the probability and then Q value. What is N value? N value is given 85. Okay. And then at most and at least over here, this is the range. That is fine. We have it. Let's find so much and then we can find the mean. Let me write it over here. It'll be N times P, these two multiplied. And what about standard deviation? It'll be the square root of all these three. So let's write, now again, let's go to computation mode and now use the fraction. 20 divided by 45 plus 20 plus 3 plus 32. And the answer is 1/5, that is 0.2. And if this is 0.2, the other one will be 0.8. And now let's quickly find the n, that is 0.2 multiplied by 85, not n, sorry, mu. It's 17. And let's find the 85 standard deviation. 0.8 times 0.2, that is 3.69. Over here we got 17 and over here we have 3.69. So this much is done and we know the x values. So we can find the z values, isn't it? Over here for 14.5 and 18.5, the z values can be found out now. That's by x is 14.5 minus mean is 17 divided by 3.69. The first answer is 0.678. And the next one would be 18.5, that is 0.407. So these are the two answers. Now the first one was negative, is it? Yeah, it's below mean, it should be negative. So let me just double check it. 14, yes, it's minus. I forgot to write the minus sign. Because if it's less than mean, obviously it should be lesser, right? Minus. The z value will be minus, that means it's less than 50%. Over here, it'll be more than 50%. Now, how do we find the probabilities? Probabilities would be from mode 3 AC. Now, just use shift 1 and then find the distribution. P of this value minus 0.678. We will get, that is, okay, I'll multiply it by 100, it'll be 24.89. So all you need to do is just multiply by 100 to get the percent. Close the bracket here and now it'll be all right. Okay, that's the answer. And what's the next one? It is it's positive 0.407 and the answer is 65.8. So here it's 65.8%. Now all you do is subtract 65.8, which is saved in the answer, by 24.89, and the answer must be 40.91. So I think so they rounded off to the nearest 10, so it's 40.9%. This must be the answer. So let's look into the answers. The first one was 3.6, now it's 40.9. Last one, please try to do it by yourself with the same thing. It's just that we have over here. Okay, the first one is very, very simple. It's just more than. And over here, exactly. Let me just do it. I'll try to do it directly in the calculator because, the mean and all doesn't change here. So what happens is we have p-value of 12, that is percent, 0.12. What about the q value? Q value will be 0.88. And then n is equal to 60. In this case, n over here will be 80. What is the x value? X is equal to 10. In the question they are mentioned it's more than 10. So correction factor will be addition, x will be 10.5. You need to add 0.5 here. And now you can find the z value, that is 10.5 minus, okay, mean, we have not found the mu, and sigma. We'll just do it in the calculator now. So mean will be n, that is 60 times p value is 0.12. The answer is 7.2, whereas other one will be 60 times 0.12 times 0.88. And the answer is 2 point, over here, let me write this, 2.52, and other one was 7.2, which we just found out. Now here then we will have 10.5 minus 7.2 divided by 2.52. The answer will be equal to 10.5 minus 7.2 divided by 2.52. It's 1.3095. Let me just write it over here. 1.30. Let me 31. Okay, that's the answer. So more than, it's just one case. And now we will use the statistics mode, that's more than 3 AC, and now shift 151 and type this out. 1.31, close the bracket. The answer is 0.9. Wait, over here, let me just recall. It's more, so I should use R or 1 minus this value. Why? Because see, the normal distribution, the p-value is always, now imagine this was 1.3, this is the answer we're getting, but we don't want that. We want the probability of more than, so this side, right side, right? So I'll do shift 153. Now let me type 1.31, close the bracket, multiplied by 100 to get in percent. The answer is 9.5%. Over here you can see it's 9.5%. Now here it's just more or less easily. If it's more, we just add 0.5 correction factor, less is subtract 0.5. But next one here exactly is this condition. It's 9.2, but let me do it over here. This is the condition, because many things will be the same. Only the thing that changes is n. Okay, if n changes, this all will change as well. Okay, let me just erase it off over here, and let's do that. So what happens with n? N is 80. Let's take our calculators and solve the mean and standard deviation. It'll be 80 times 0.12. It's 9.6, and over here you need to also do the square root. So let me go out of the statistics mode. So square root will be 0.80 times 0.12 times 0.88. So that's the standard deviation. It's 2.91. And over here we got 9.6. 9.6, I remember. So these are the two answers. So now then, what is the z value? Here they have clearly told exactly 7. So x will be 6.5 and 7.5. So let's find the z values for both these conditions. What happens is, here we just write 6.5 minus the mean, that is 9.6, divided by 2.91. The answer is negative 1. Let me just write 1.065. And for the next one, just change the 6.5 to 7.5. The answer is minus 0.722. Now we have to go to the start mode, mode 3 AC, and let's do the probabilities. It'll be minus 1.065. See, whenever you have two values, you don't need to press, P and R. You don't have to change, because both of them will give the same answer, You have to just subtract the higher minus the lower. Now I'll just multiply this by 100, so I'll get in percent, because it's easy to interpret percent values. Okay, 14% makes sense, much sense. 14.344, and over here the last one is 0 minus 0.722. It's 23.515. So all you do is subtract this by 14.344. The answer must be 9.1%, 9.2. Yeah, it's 9.2%, because when you round it off, it'll be 9.2. So this is how we can solve problems using binomial distribution correction factors. Please remember this table. Try to understand when it's greater, less than. Remember, when it's less, greater than and greater than or equal to, it's not same, it changes, okay? So understand this concept and then try to use the correction factor, and then you can easily solve it up. And that is the end of all the multiple choice questions. If you have found these videos helpful, please share it with your friends. Let them know about this channel Best Math, where you can find all the end of term exam questions and exam lessons explanation for free. And I just want to thank all the students who like my videos, who share my videos, and all the gratitude comments. I really thank you so much. Your comments really make my day. A single thank you always puts a big smile on my face. Thank you very much. And I wish you all the best in your exams. I hope everyone does well. If you have any doubts, any clarifications, please do post them in the comments and I will get back to you.